You're listening to The Raw Reaction on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Raw Reaction. What is up? How are we doing this evening, everyone? Coming to you straight out of the ATL, and Killer Kev coming from the KY. And we have a special guest host. Introduce yourself, my man.
My name is Jordan Garber. I am an up-and-coming, actually one of the top up-and-coming wrestling interviewers in Canada. I've interviewed a lot of big names in my for my resume, and I'm glad to be co-host tonight on the Raw Reaction. And of course, If you want to keep up with me, you can follow me on Twitter at Jordan J. Garber, and I'm ready to talk Raw tonight.
Awesome. Straight out of the Great White North. So I have to ask you, Jordan, how many feet of snow do you have right now?
Well, let me look outside, and the way it's a lot. We probably have, I can't really estimate, but we have a lot of snow up here right now in Winnipeg, and it's starting to get a little annoying. Starting to get tired of the cold weather. What about you?
Have you do you measure snow where you are in Canada by feet or by yardstick?
We measure them by inches.
Really? That's not what I've heard about Canada.
Oh, I measure it in inches, so.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I thought that you guys have like massive tunnels underground and all sorts of crazy stuff. You guys are you part of Eskimo?
No, I'm not an Eskimo, but if you go more north in this province, you'll probably see a lot.
Hey, Vic, the only thing that gets measured in yardsticks around here belongs to Rusev.
Oh, shit, and it's diameter of his cock, huh? I see where your mind is tonight, Kev. Couldn't get it off Rusev's thick, coke-sized cock.
Hey, you don't have to go there.
Sorry. I figured it'd be, nice to bring up that we've had a couple minutes of a delay. Figure, what better way to start the show than the discussion on Rusev's cock?
Well, it's not because of Rusev. It's the comparison to the can. We've got a new sponsor, Surge, this week. We can't sponsor competitors.
Oh, okay. Surge Cola then?
There you go.
Okay. All right. Very nice. So yeah. Now that I know Surge Cola diameter.
Well, I know one thing that another sponsor should be here on the Raw Reaction on AngryMarks.com, and that is Beats by Bolin. You guys should get your set of Beats by Bolin for sure. If Kenny Bolin's listening, what's up, man? And another sponsor should be WrestlingRoad247.com. So, but in all seriousness, I'm ready to talk Raw tonight. And what did you think of it?
I thought it was a good show. It felt like, and I know I discussed this in previous last week's show, it seemed like this pay-per-view was very quickly put together. For the most part, we had all of our matches either the night after Survivor Series or last week. We were pretty much set with, okay, here's our setup, here's our 4 or 5 good matches, all single matches. You have a table match, you have a ladder match, you have a stair match, you have a chair match, and you have a TLC match. Then I think you have a women's championship match, tag team match, and that's pretty much about it. So I think that we've pretty much got through everything here. The only match that I do recall being added without much fanfare at all was another installment of one Jack Swagger fighting in honor of Zeb Coulter, his man, against Rusev once again, which I don't see him winning. I don't see him taking his championship back from Rusev at this point. It doesn't feel like he's there. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, WWE does have those shocking moments. You could see Jack Swagger obviously Jack Swagger's the underdog in this matchup. We could see a title change, but as for odds in favor, not really. I think we're going to see Rusev continue that undefeated, not being pinned or submitted streak for quite a while. from now. So I don't think it's time for Rusev to lose the title just yet.
Yeah, I almost feel like they're building up to lose it to somebody bigger. I think that it's either going to be maybe possibly The Rock at WrestleMania if he makes a comeback, or maybe if not WrestleMania, maybe the Royal Rumble leading up to that, depending on how quickly they want to get this Rusev undefeated angle ended, or even John Cena down the road. So I don't know. I just don't see Swagger taking it out. It seems like Swagger's been sort of fed to him and almost not quite been jobbing to him, but pretty close to that, it seems like, the last couple of matches. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with this. Now, anyway, WWE, the Raw started off, we had none other than the future of the WWE, Seth Rollins, versus the star, really the coming out star of Survivor Series, Dolph Ziggler. Why don't you tell us what happened during this match?
Between who? Who's facing?
Opening match with Ziggler and Seth Rollins.
Oh yeah, it was a really good match. What happened, and personally, I enjoyed it. And of course, there was Was there interference? Yeah. What I thought of the match is I thought it was absolutely awesome. It was a good opener to the show. What did you think?
I think it was high energy. It wasn't a super long match, and obviously WWE wasn't going to give us a clean finish on it, being with two of the upcoming stars of the next pay-per-view. So basically what ended up happening was Mercury and M&M Security got involved, ran some interference, and eventually, probably 8-9 minutes in, set up Seth Rollins, nailed a curb stomp on Ziggler, and picked up the win. So I think it was good. It helped really push Rollins as number one, a heel, and number two, into his huge matchup with John Cena. And throughout the night, that was really harped on for both Rollins and Cena as a absolutely huge match, including a bit of input by Paul Heyman on this as well, saying, basically giving more or less a motivational speech to Seth Rollins, saying, hey, it's nice that you had the stones to step up to Lesnar and curb stomp him at some point. Didn't appreciate it, but what you're really going to do, you got to take out John Cena. So that was a good bit of motivation there. The one thing I did not like was that they didn't take, they've basically taken, they said they're taking John Cena's title shot away. I don't feel like there's anything sufficient for Seth Rollins to lose. I don't think they've made it to match. I could have missed this part. They could add to the future. They could put his Money in the Bank briefcase on the line, which I think would it really raised the stakes between these two.
Yeah, for sure. And it was a very good way to push the Seth Rollins and John Cena matchup for sure. And it makes you think. It's like Cena's been a champion 14 times, if I'm not mistaken. He's won the WWE Championship 14 times. And it's just that he's won that title 14 times, so if he loses his number one contender spot, it's like, okay, because he's already won it 14 times before. So it's like, if he loses it, he'll move on to something else in like a week. But still, you know what I mean? It's still a good match. It should be really good.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Cena's at the point where he's so far over, he can afford to make the star. It's just a matter of, okay, is WWE going to, do they trust Dean Ambrose? I mean, they've already showed they trust him to main event a pay-per-view, but do they trust him to do it on an ongoing basis, or do they just trust Dolph Ziggler to run the main event in a pay-per-view, or something along those lines? There's really a second fiddle face with Daniel Bryan out, CM Punk now fighting in UFC apparently, and John Cena taking more of a secondary feud. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that. I felt like they've done a good job creating Punk and Daniel Bryan over the last couple of years as a real second tier, more rough around the edges star than John Cena. And they, for two separate reasons, they're both not in WWE right now. So it'll be interesting to see who they end up having be the star. I mean, I feel like WWE is really, right now, at least, really behind Eric Rowan or Big Red. A couple of weeks ago, they were really behind Ryback. So I feel like they're sort of trying to push these guys to the moon. I think I'd say Big Red stole the show last night, and if we were playing a drinking game tonight, for every time they said, Big Red, you take a drink, I would probably be passed out on the floor right now.
There's a lot of stories with me involved with that sometimes, so you can't really worry about that. But just think about that for a second, though. CM Punk in the UFC, but in January, he left the WWE. Do you know, CM Punk, apparently knows how to break the internet, but that's quite a controversial thing to do. And to add to it, his wife, AJ Lee, is in WWE and is over in WWE. She's not some jobber. So think about that. CM Punk broke the internet. CM Punk made history by signing with the UFC. That should be really good to see. That hasn't happened since Brock Lesnar joined the UFC. But this is way, way more controversial. Punk is really entertaining in that way.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see does UFC run directly against WWE for a pay-per-view or something along those lines, really try to get in there, steal audience members. I mean, I think that it could really take away some thunder from WWE if they had Lesnar out there as a champion wrestling or doing fights in the UFC, which I've heard he's definitely going to do some fights next year, almost definitely. But it'll be interesting to see if WWE keeps the strap on him while he's doing that, which I found would be pretty interesting. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see some exciting stuff for 2015. But more importantly, the fresh, new, hip group, A New Day, or The New Day, faced off against Cody Rhodes as Stardust, along with his singles valet this evening, Goldust. Now, this match, why don't you tell us, what are your thoughts so far on A New Day, this new faction in WWE?
Well, I think I briefly went down on SmackDown Rundown, which you guys can listen to, of course, on AngryMarks.com. Listen to the archives. I'm on there, yours truly. But you look at the New Day, and you kind of notice how it's good. It brings a positive influence to the crowd that are children. And since, like it or not, WWE has turned to PG, they're bringing in this whole the New Day thing, which is when kids watch wrestling, they're inspired. So the kids watching the New Day, they're going to end up wanting to be like those type of people. I think it's genius, and I think they're doing this to get a positive vibe on the younger audience. What do you think?
You know what? Other than John Cena and the Usos, WWE needs a way to sell more fluorescent merchandise and dancing around by 8-year-old fans. So I think it's a good thing. Now, I've heard some rumors that WWE may be adding a fourth member to A New Day. Now, I'm just going to throw out some options there. Why don't you let me know who you think this fourth member could possibly be. I'm going to give you three options and let me know what your thoughts are. The first one would be Dolph Ziggler. The second option that they may or may not be considering, Daniel Bryan. And a third and final option would be Titus O'Neil. Out of those three, which one do you think might talent-wise be a good mesh with A New Day?
Titus O'Neil by far.
Yes, I would do the same thing. I feel like that group, I think that they could really play off one another very well. And I think that I see so many similarities in their wrestling ability.
Well, you think of it this way, their gimmick, simply, they're black preachers. That's their gimmick. That's what it's supposed to be. That is literally their gimmick. If you look in WWE storylines, their gimmick is black preachers. I can picture Titus O'Neil fitting in with that group really, really well. What do you, I totally can see Titus O'Neil. I couldn't see someone like Dolph Ziggler or whatever be in that group because they don't match the gimmick, you know what I mean? I could picture Titus O'Neil being in that group.
Yeah, I really think he'd fit with that team really well as well. All right, well, let's get back. One of the Slammy Awards, I'm not going to go through every single one of them because a couple of these were done on a pre-show on WWE Network. Some of us may or may not have WWE Network. I, for one, am a bit of an outcast in not having it. But surprise of the year. Now, what were your thoughts about WWE awarding this to the late, great Ultimate Warrior?
Very, I think that was the most shocking return of the year, and just seeing the Ultimate Warrior back and during that time was truly inspirational to me as a wrestling fan. and just looking, that tragic accident that happened to the Ultimate Warrior was heartbreaking. So it was really good to see Warrior get that tribute and get that Slammy for sure. It was really, truly heartwarming to see, because Ultimate Warrior has done nothing but entertain us for years, and it's tragic what happened, but to see him win that Slammy put a smile on my face.
Yeah, he definitely went out the way he should have gone out as a Hall of Famer. So that was sort of poetic justice, I guess you could say there. But that truly was a big shock that he was able to reconcile with WWE and get admitted into their Hall of Fame.
Oh, most definitely. Well deserved.
So anyway, next up we had a debut of the WWE NXT Women's Champion, and this young lady goes by the name of Charlotte. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about Charlotte, for those of us who may not be familiar with her history?
Charlotte is now in obviously WWE NXT. She is best known for being the daughter of the Nature Boy Ric Flair. She has an amazing style, a gimmick that really, pretty much the best way to explain her is she shines. If you were to put her in front of a group of normal divas, she would be the one to shine, just because she has the skills and the abilities and the mentorship from her father. If all of you guys are listening, anyone who's listening, I recommend that you keep an eye on Charlotte, because there's many great things to come out of her. She's already the NXT Women's Champion, and for Charlotte, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, for all you WWE fans out there, I think there's one big takeaway from this that I think anybody looking to make a real breakthrough WWE take away from this should really be Ric Flair's kid. That's very helpful to your WWE career, especially in a place like South Carolina, which is very much Flair country. So with that said, quick match against Natalya. I was pretty surprised that Charlotte ended up losing, but I feel like, at least in the women's division, and just to sort of give her a little bit of shine and talk about her NXT pay-per-view, or not pay-per-view, but their big event coming up on WWE TV this coming Thursday, it really gave them an excuse to talk about it and really build up the NXT championship for the women's division and let Natalya have a win, which she's sort of been lacking in lately. Her in her feud with Tyson Kidd. I guess she's been winning more than Tyson Kidd, which isn't saying much. But it was not a very long match, but I think Charlotte will survive the initial loss. Wins and losses are forgotten very easily in the women's division these days.
Oh yeah, well at least she got to make her debut, and at least she got that call up for that night to the main roster and had that great match with Natalya. Those two are probably some of the best divas in WWE right now, and of course you could see Charlotte wrestle Sasha Banks on Our Revolution on NXT TakeOver, so that should be a really good match as well. But it was really good to see Charlotte wrestle on Raw tonight and show us what she's made of.
Absolutely. Now, up next we had the OMG Shocker of the year before, and I'm not going to go through all of the potential candidates for this. I think, as a WWE wrestling fan for many years, everybody pretty much knew that Brock Lesnar was going to win this. I mean, he had 80,000 people at WrestleMania in stunned silence when he took down The Undertaker. So no surprise there, but it allowed Paul Heyman to get a brief promo there. I thought it was a little strange how Heyman was out there giving his promo just as it was finishing up. Bray Wyatt's music came on and he made his entrance to the ring. Didn't really have any other correspondence with Paul Heyman. I just found it weird, and it almost cut into Paul Heyman's promo there a little bit. It didn't lead to anything more, and I don't think it will. But it just seemed like almost they were trying to rush through a booking out there. So they said, "Hey, get out of there right now." Yeah,
like I talked about on the SmackDown rundown, is I don't agree with the whole fact of Brock Lesnar not appearing. And me and Nikolai talked about this. Brock Lesnar not appearing at a major pay-per-view like Survivor Series. That's ridiculous. Especially when you're paying a ticket and you can't even see the champion of the company you're going to see. Like, come on. Like, whatever though. Like, WWE, they're obviously the largest wrestling company in the world, and compared to me and them, I know completely nothing. So they know what they're doing, but still, in my opinion, as a fan, it's like, damn, don't you want to see your champion on TV week after week?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that I like the idea of having the WWE Championship be an attraction, but like you said, I mean, we haven't seen the WWE Championship on TV or on a pay-per-view in quite a while, and you can't really blame Brock Lesnar for this. I mean, shoot, if I could work 10 times a year, make a couple $1 million a year, and what, $250,000 per appearance or whatever, I mean, shoot, I'd be all over that. Unfortunately, I do not have those talents. So, I'm stuck working every Monday night. I don't have I didn't get the call up to Raw or for half of Raw or to Jock Mashy backstage interview special. So, I'm here with you guys on Raw Reaction. So, you guys stuck with me. So, interesting little promo here with Bray Wyatt once he finally got out. Apparently, Bray Wyatt was, really attached to that rocking chair that he had. And I thought he had gone through a couple of rocking chairs. I thought he had a white rocking chair at some point. I don't understand how attaching a to a rocking chair when, quite honestly, you go to Cracker Barrel and buy these things for like $100. I mean, they're sitting right out front there. You can load them up in your pickup truck and drive up with a pair of them. Or you go to any southern frat house to the front of their house and pick them up for $100 from right under a column porch. So I don't know. He seems really into this rocking chair. A little weird.
Well, that's what Bray Wyatt's trying to portray as his character. He's supposed to be weird, and I like the touch that he's added, that he saw that girl sitting under a tree with it. It just adds that kind of like little horror movie effect to it. I thought that was an excellent promo by Bray Wyatt. I enjoyed that a lot. And that whole rocking chair promo was outstanding in my opinion.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about it is, hey, the person who destroyed it and it is made a big deal about it is Dean Ambrose. And then his entrance today was very cool, showing up in the ambulance with the tables, the ladders, and the chairs in it, and then coming down and getting in a nice little scrap there. I thought that was a good lead up for the pay-per-view. I know WWE was really selling his Dean Ambrose at his trachea injury he got last week on SmackDown, so I was a little surprised to see him here, but he eventually came out, pulled his neck brace off, and was raring to go.
What if there was a hologram in the ring of Angry Tensai? What if?
You know what? I think it would have motivated the one and the only Dean Ambrose to recklessly throw a chair in there and actually hit Bray Wyatt on the head, which was pretty entertaining. That was one of my favorite parts of the segment. Other than being a fairly entertaining segment, that was a pretty nice little screw up you had there.
Let me tell you guys something. Dean Ambrose has been through hell and back over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Dean Ambrose is going to go over, and he's going to go over in a big way on Bray Wyatt. And unfortunately, WWE has booked Bray Wyatt into a corner, but Dean Ambrose's time has come. And I do believe Dean Ambrose has seen enough and has been through enough, and he's going to come through shining in this feud.
So he's going to be the next recipient of a CM Punk-esque push or Daniel Bryan-esque push. You think he's going to be not big Red Eric Rowan, not Dolph Ziggler? Do you think it's going to be Dean Ambrose going to really come out of this with the full rub?
Well, like we've said in the past, you can't put everybody over, and unfortunately for Bray Wyatt, I think he's kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time. And although he's gotten all the high profile feuds, he's kind of been like the new school Chris Jericho. He's in all the big money feuds, but he just doesn't win them. And I think that's kind of been the scenario that Bray Wyatt's been in. But Ambrose and Rollins have clearly been given the path to the brass ring, so to speak. Those are the two that have been on the undeniable path, and I think Ambrose is gonna win this one. But I love Bray Wyatt, but I just really feel like last week when I saw Dean Ambrose manhandled the way he was, and his return this week, I think Ambrose is kind of on the path now, my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Jordan, Angry Tensai, got a question for you guys. This pay-per-view is pretty much put together here. What is the main event?
That's a good question. Well, we know it's not going to be, I think it's going to be Cena versus Rollins. Personally, that's what I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Jordan there. And by the way, Jordan, great to hear you on here. Thanks for helping us out tonight. Without a doubt, I would agree with him. I mean, I still think I don't know if you guys touched on it already tonight, and I apologize for coming in surprisingly. I think this is Sheamus Cena 3 years later, 4 years later. I think I think Rollins is not only going to be in the main event, but I think this is going to be his signature pay-per-view. I really believe he's going to get the bullshit finish, and Cena's going to fall off the top rope through the table and be like, what the fuck just happened? And they're going to raise Rollins' hand, and he's going to be the number one contender. That's the way I see it playing out.
I can agree with you on that. That's what the thing about wrestling is, that at times it's unpredictable, and at times it's very predictable. And I can really agree with you. I can picture seeing a finish like that.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking going into Raw, I was thinking, hey, you know what? The TLC match is going to be the main event. I still think it might be, but to have sort of Cena and Rollins really spotlighted there at the end of Raw, I think that it sort of led to, hey, that's gonna be the matchup. That's the pay-per-view main event. I would, like I said before, I would like it if there was something for Rollins to lose. I feel like Cena has everything to lose, nothing to gain here. But I don't know. I mean, WWE might sort of be booking themselves in a corner where Cena wins and retains his title shot.
Well, Vic,
and then we see. Go ahead.
Well, I want to ask Jordan this because he's kind of new to our little circle here. You know, to your point, you made a great point right here. I actually really like what you just said. You just said this is kind of a weird scenario because Cena has nothing to gain but everything to lose. And I still am stuck on McMahon booking the Authority into that match with Team Cena. They really didn't gain anything if they won. So I don't really get, Jordan, in your opinion, why are they booking these stakes so lopsided consistently? I don't see why the other party would agree to these things.
Well, exactly. It's like, why would they? And you saw that match, and you kind of predicted that Team Cena was going to go over, because if the Authority won, exactly like you said, the Authority won, so there's going to be another Monday Night Raw under the Authority. When they have stipulations like that, and when it comes to that case in point, when they're getting so much heat, of course Team Cena's going to win. It was a very predictable outcome. It was a good match. It was a great debut for Sting, but it was a very predictable outcome. Like I said before, wrestling's predictable. Wrestling is sometimes unpredictable. This was one of the cases where wrestling was predictable.
Well said, well said. You know, I mean, I know I've been getting hung up on it lately. Maybe I was just too excited by it, but I mean, predictable's good. And I guess, you know, maybe when we actually physically see Rollins put through Cena, we see Rollins put through Cena through a table in some capacity, we'll love it. Because I sure know that when I watched Survivor Series' outcome, it was awesome. I was so pleased, and I thought it was such a great outcome. Maybe it'll be the same way here, but I don't see any way you can book this match with any other outcome than Seth Rollins finding a way to win, or else why in the hell would we go through this, and why would Cena agree to it?
And that's the thing, and if you guys, other wrestling podcasts out there, and if you, here's some advice, because I've been doing this for 2 years, if you're predicting a wrestling match, and you're doing it on a show, think about the outcomes and think about the situations that would be happening during the shows after that pay-per-view. Perfect way to predict matches. And if you do that, you may leave with a very good record, and you can impress all your listeners. But like you said, it's a very predictable outcome, and I choose Seth Rollins to go over in this matchup. I can totally see that happening, and that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like the last basically the last 4 pay-per-views, or actually probably the last 6 Raws, it's basically ended up with John Cena, Big Show, Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, Dolph Ziggler, Kane, Rollins. It felt like everything is just 5, 6, 7 guys down the ring going at it, and this was no exception. At the end, it broke down. Obviously, we knew that with both John Cena and Big Show having fairly substantial matches at the pay-per-view, especially John Cena and then Big Show sort of, I think he might be to put over Big Red, Eric think that they sort of booked themselves into a corner here where you knew, hey, Rollins, everybody's going to come out, and it's just going to be sort of a good lead up for a pay-per-view. We'll have some brawls outside the window. We'll get Luke Harper jumping off a ladder, Dolph Ziggler, things like that, just to sort of hype their individual one-on-one matches, which I think will be pretty entertaining. I think that probably out of all the matches I was excited for, aside from obviously the big two, I think Ziggler versus Luke Harper in a ladder match is going to really steal the show. Obviously, we know Dolph Ziggler, he'll put it on. He's a great technical wrestler, can really carry wrestling, but Luke Harper's no slouch. And I mean, he was back a couple months ago. He was doing diving headbutts through the ropes just as much as the Usos or Dean Ambrose or Seth Rollins. So he's not afraid. He's a big guy, but he's not afraid to lay it all on the line there. So I'm really excited to see what comes out of this match between him and Dolph Ziggler.
Don't let Luke Harper's attire fool you. He's a very able worker and very, very capable for sure. I agree with that. Now let me ask you both something. I didn't catch the whole show tonight, Vic, as you know, as I was texting into you. Was there any, and you may have covered this already, was there any workup tonight to our evolution for NXT? Was there anything that was kind of covered?
The real push was they had Charlotte make her debut against Natasha. And so they gave her a little bit of a rub there. Natasha ended up getting a win, but
Natasha.
It's Natalia.
Natalia, whatever.
Natasha.
There's a new WWE diva for those of you who didn't want to watch tonight. Her name is Natasha.
Did Boris come out to the ring with her?
Hey, new gimmick for Tyson Kidd. He might actually get over this time.
Well, here's the thing that everyone's saying about Tyson Kidd, and these are what some wrestling fans need to understand. A month ago, the man put on a 5-star Intercontinental Championship match on SmackDown, and all because for 2 or 3 weeks he's not being pushed as much. Doesn't mean they're jobbing him or anything, they're just giving him time. I could still see a lot of big things out of Tyson Kidd on WWE programming. Don't give up on him too soon. Just because he just had one of the matches of the year, which should have been nominated for Match of the Year in the Slammys just a month ago. So don't count Tyson Kidd out at all. And that's not just because I'm friends with him. That's because he's a really good wrestler, and don't count him out yet because he just had that 5-star match with Cesaro and Ziggler.
Are you saying that because you're both Canadians?
No.
I feel a little racist here.
Like I said, hey, here's a fast fact. He's also worked and trained with Bruce Hart, who I also, if you want to go back in the Jordan Garber storybook, I worked with once for a show, radio shows. So we kind of are similar. He's worked for Bruce. I've worked for Bruce. Obviously not the same level. I'm not the best out there, obviously. I'm not that good. But at least Tyson Kidd, he's very familiar to me, and I love Tyson Kidd. I'm a mark for Tyson Kidd.
Me too. I got 2 things for you, Jordan. I'll say this. I'll say one's a comment that you don't even need to comment on, and the other is a question. Comment number 1. I'm gonna throw this right out there. I'm gonna lay my arms down right here on the table. I love Canada for one thing. What you guys did to that ISIS guy that tried to invade your capital was awesome. That dude got capped, and I dig that. And I dig the way Canada dealt with terrorism. You guys aren't playing games. You guys aren't taking them in the public court. You're just capping people, and I dig that.
So I don't even remember what happened with this ISIS guy. I watched the news, but what happened, and I'll comment on the situation.
You don't know about that?
What happened with the ISIS thing in Canada?
You don't remember that? The guy tried to break into the Capitol?
Oh yeah, I do remember that. I was all over the news. I do remember that. And yeah, that's the good thing about Canada is that sometimes it may be cold. Sometimes, at least up in here in Winnipeg, it's boring. But at least we have a good justice system, and the guy got capped. So yeah, for sure. I'm not really the one to talk about world news, but for sure, we are pretty much standing our ground up here in the country of Canada, I guess.
I love it, and I dig it. And
my favorite part was that Bret Hart put a sharpshooter on him afterwards.
No, he just got shot in the head, and they gave the guy an awesome medal for doing it. It was pretty sweet. The other thing though is, like Canada, I am a big Tyson Kidd fan. I think he's a great worker. Now here's my question, Jordan. Does he have wireless beats or are they wired beats that he wears to the ring?
That's a good question. Maybe they like have a little like USB port or something, or again, who knows? You think of it this way: Canada's just like everywhere else. It's just really, really cold up here, especially in Winnipeg. If you go to Vancouver, it's not going to be that cold. But if you're in Winnipeg, my God, I can't even walk 2 blocks to a store to get some Mountain Dew because it's so fucking cold outside. It's starting to get ridiculous. Like, you get tired of it quickly. Let me ask you guys a question. What state are you guys in?
I'm in Connecticut, which, similar to where you are,
Already
is very
better than
similar.
Winnipeg. Already is better than Manitoba. What about you, Vic?
I'm in a state of despair. Also,
He's in
it's the state
Georgia.
of Georgia.
Georgia is beautiful.
Georgia's like you said, both places are way better than Manitoba. So you guys are very lucky. Be fortunate, even if it's snowing like hell down in Connecticut.
Well, we spent some time at the International Bowl in Toronto and we froze our asses off. So we know what it's like up there. Now, I'll say this about Tyson Kidd. I think I would go out and say, you know, whenever we see him on Raw, that's great. Tyson Kidd has very well become the Dolph Ziggler of NXT. He's pretty much proven that you don't even have to win a match and you can still stand out and be one of the best workers on TV. I think you'd probably agree with that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He is one of the best workers on TV. And I noticed that I'm in the AngryMarks.com chat here right now, and we've got quite a few people commenting as well. So, like you guys said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask it on the chat. I'll answer it, as well as the other co-hosts will. Just don't ask stupid questions. Like they say, there's no such thing as stupid questions. So don't ask ridiculous questions. But point said, my question to you guys is, what did you guys think of the show overall?
What do you think, Val?
I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. I mean, there were a couple of lame parts. I really thought that Nikki Bella's chest should have got Superstar of the Year, and also the Tag Team of the Year. It was looking extra spectacular this evening, but apparently she got jobbed to both AJ and the Usos. I don't know if I didn't notice this before, or I was sort of not seeing as much, but Mizdow is freaking hilarious. Like, he was really, every single time, like, he was like doing he was getting like flipped over to the side. It was just, I don't know if he's been this entertaining with this angle, but it was freaking hilarious to me. Like, wow, I don't know if he stepped it up a little bit or what the deal is, but I mean, not only is he over with the crowd, but I mean, it's just some entertaining stuff. He was like doing forward flips and throwing himself over the ropes, and it's such a silly angle, but it's succeeding and just putting him over so much with the crowd. And I mean, I think he eventually somehow get a face turn, which I never thought would have been possible with somebody like Damian Sandow.
Oh yeah, exactly. I think that you look at this Mizdow thing, and this guy's getting more over than the Miz. This is probably the part of the whole tag team because they're focusing on Mizdow and how funny this guy has been. And like me and Nikolai had talked about before, him winning, him having to hold these replica toy belts that you get at Toys R Us is completely ridiculous. He's been in WWE for over 6 years, and the man doesn't even get to hold like a real title belt. The Miz does, because the egomaniac that he is outside of the ring as well. I've heard stories from people I've interviewed. He's the complete egomaniac. It's like, that's what ruins wrestling sometimes, is that you have these big egos that just ruin the fun for everyone.
Can we do TLC picks before we leave, Kev? And no more penis talk and demolition, right? Let's make picks.
Jack Swagger, Rusev.
Swagger will win. Shock the world. There it is. I'm not kidding around.
Wow. That would be, that might supplant Brock Lesnar over Undertaker for the shock of the year.
They did not rebook this feud for Swagger to lose again. Why else would they do that? Just saying.
Yeah. You know what? I think this is where Zeb Coulter turns heel on Swagger.
That would explain the rebook.
Yep. That's I'm calling it. He's going out to the ring, come out to the ring in a wheelchair, and then hit Swagger with a crutch. Sergeant Slaughter a la 1991.
What do you think, Garby?
I kind of like how you say my last name, Garby. I don't know why you would say that, but
it's a nickname for Jordan Garber, Garby.
Garby. People would sometimes call me Garber. It's like, it's Garber, whatever, but I recommend my first name. But Jack Swagger over. I only said Slater versus Rusev. Well, we know for sure that Slater would go over. I'm just kidding. Swagger versus Rusev. Swagger will not win. It's not time for Rusev to drop the title yet.
I feel like they'd be making a little bit more bigger of a deal about this. This match basically got announced along with crawl on the bottom of the screen. This was not a big pay-per-view announcement. There was no real point where this got announced as a huge match. This was just sort of, oh, by the way, these two are having a match.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what it's like? Here's what the deal is about a Swagger versus Rusev match. It's like going down to NJIT to a frat party at New Jersey Institute for Technology. Yeah, it's great. You're at a party, there's free beer, you're having a great time, and then you realize there's no girls. It's not fucking great. It's not good. It is what it is. And that's what this match is. Just saying.
Well, Lana's going to be there. She looks like something you'd find at a little place called Heartbreakers right off of the Garden State Parkway. Nice Eastern European flair, Angry Tensai.
Is Heartbreaker still open? That's a great place.
I had no idea, but I'm like, holy crap, like this is like the biggest contingent of Eastern European chicks who will take their clothes off for money. It is a pretty nice place.
Gorgeous Russian girls. Kev would love that place.
Kev does love his Russian girls.
Totally.
Thanks for that link you sent, by the way, Kev. So anyway, we got a couple matches.
Well,
Alright,
about
couple more matches if we want to go over them. Seth Rollins versus John Cena.
Seth Rollins. Let's just fly through this.
Alright, Seth Rollins, it's unanimous. Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose.
Dean Ambrose.
Ambrose.
I'm gonna say Wyatt. I'm gonna say Wyatt. I could see something crazy happening. I don't know what, but I feel like Wyatt needs to win at a pay-per-view.
What's the next match?
Big Red versus the strip mall connoisseur, the Big Show. Who's winning this match?
Can I say one thing about Big Show first?
He shouldn't have invested in strip malls. We've discussed this at length.
We know that the Big Show is going to turn face again in a month. That's a guarantee. Why? What's with this army attire? Like, you think, like, I get it. It's cool, but, like, make the man a new singlet. I've seen that thing for 2 fucking years. I want to see something else on the, like, I don't really pay attention to the attire, but it's just the same old army attire. It's like, why? It's crazy.
I don't know what to say about that. I
know.
Factoid.
Go ahead.
I want to see him nude. I would love that, to see him come out literally buck naked. Like,
pay $750 to see him come out at the next pay-per-view buck naked.
Dude, his ass would be so big, it would be so cool.
Okay. Yeah, I think we are running out of time for tonight, but,
Alright, so I think, as I was saying, I think Big Red, the man beast, not the chewing gum.
The real man beast is Rhino, by the way.
A solid win over Big Show, and quite honestly, hopefully knock Big Show out for a while, because I think, we need a little break from Big Show. We need some time off here, I think. It's, he's losing any little bit of luster he had left.
Yeah, it's back and forth with the guy.
And then like you said, in 2 months, he can come back as a face again. So, we'll come back on SmackDown.
It's guaranteed to happen. Like, this guy is like the Mark Henry of wrestling. He's a heel, he's a face, he's a heel, he's a face, he's a heel, he's a face. Like, come on, like, pick something.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Henry? Did he get hurt?
He probably went to the local Sonic and was never found since.
Good.
I like Sonic.
I like Sonic. Do they still have the 20 different shakes there?
I'm not sure, but they have bellhops.
Well, I do that in Canada. We don't even have anything comparable. And it's good.
They have ice skates in Canada.
We have iced tea in Canada, and we have...
No, ice skates. We'll come out in ice skates and snowshoes.
We're all brilliant, I guess. This is Angry Marks, and Angry Marks is a network where they continue to get some of the top names in wrestling internet stuff, or whatever you fans call it. And we all join as one to create a good network.
The Internet of Things.
You know what I love about Angry Marks the best, though? As much as they get great talent like yourself, Stevie J, and all talent such as those, they also put mentally challenged people like me and Big Dick on the air, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really appreciated that you could put some upstanding individuals like ourselves who would probably, if it were not for this show, we would be on the phone for 2 hours talking about Raw and Naked Demolition after the show, and that would just be weird.
That would
It would just be weird.
Talking about that.
Thank you for giving us a way to not be weird.
Exactly, and thank you guys for having me on. Of course, on the Raw Reaction, as funny as this was, and unpredictable as this was. I don't know if I broke the internet. I guess I'm not Kim Kardashian because I'm not an attention whore, but
Or nude.
I guess
I'm completely nude right now.
podcasts I may have broke the internet. So, what's up? I'm Jordan Garber.
Thank you, Jordan. Big Dick. And the angry one, Tensai. We love you all.
Okay, I think we should end this show, personally.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks
It's been a
so
great
much.
night on Raw Reaction, the best show ever. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Kev, hit the music.